Like, that's the point of vacation. Like,
No.
I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
saying
about right now.
there should be more recharges than 2 in a whole fucking year. Is my point.
Well, yeah, you're just making that up though. Like,
Yeah,
you could.
because of the way that work actually happens.
But
Like,
here's the other thing. Well, yeah, you have to
if
schedule
every
it. That's
3
on
months.
you to,
Okay,
like,
let's
be able
change
to
it. I
figure
went
it
from
out.
1 month, I couldn't do it. Now you're saying that's negative. If I did it every 3 months, like I took 2 weeks off, like you see that, like it's like I can get work done. You say something, I shit on it, and then you go, "Well, you already said that you liked it," and I'm like, "I know, because I'm a hypocrite."
Yeah. Well, hey man,
What's up?
we're rolling. How's it going?
Good. I went to the gym. A little crazy, sweaty, probably. Feeling good though.
No,
Got a
look fine.
haircut.
Looks like you. I know the haircut looks good.
Got a little haircut.
For all the listeners, just take our word for it. And he's got the fade. It's not really a fade.
It's a high military fade, is what it's called.
Yeah.
'Cause it
The sweat
literally
just looks like
blends
hair
at the
gel.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
no.
good.
And I got this crazy cowlick right here on the side. That's special.
That's style.
You know.
Yeah.
It's on purpose.
I got you.
What's up?
I got a couple of comments actually. Speaking of hair, did you see I did a reel, an Instagram reel promoting Ken's episode.
I saw it. I feel like your hair is more popular than both of us as far as this podcast is concerned.
It's kind of weird. I get a lot of comments about it. But I don't know if you notice because you see me a lot, but usually I have it relatively, it's either like down or it's pulled back. And when I pull it back, I try to keep it pretty tight, pretty clean. You know what I'm saying? But the natural pulled back version of my hair is like Doc Brown. It's like, no, it's like,
So I don't think I've ever told you this, but like when your hair is down and it's like in front of you, I always think of what's the Muppet that plays the piano? You know what I'm talking about? Is this Ralph?
I
Is his name
kind of,
Ralph.
I don't know.
Where he's
I
like
feel like
real
that's
cool. He's like bluesy, plays the piano. He's like, "Oh yeah, man," you know.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
but
got, like,
he,
the
he's
round
got
glasses.
the crazy. No glasses. I don't think he's just got like this crazy big ears that like hang down where your hair hangs down.
Okay. I don't know.
Yes, here it is. Yeah, Ralph. His name is Ralph. Rowlf. Ralph.
Okay. Wait a minute. The dog?
Yeah. But the way that your hair falls right here perfectly to the shoulders, that's exactly what his ears do. And so it's like this perfect little like round piece. Not saying
Nice.
you look like him. Just saying like that's
I
what
mean,
your
that
hair
could be
always
my
makes
next
me think about.
avatar. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you, man.
But yeah, in that video, it was my hair was kind of wild, and I had the windows down, and I got a few people. It was like, your hair looks fucking wild. I was like, that's true.
You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah. And now that it's like grayer and grayer, it really is. My hair turned from like when it used to just be like curly and black to like now it's gray, but it looks like I got electrocuted. Like the texture, it's not curly. I mean, it's like just frizz. And it's nice. Anyway, well, cool, dude. You know, one of the things so I read this article on LinkedIn, and I'll post to it. And it's an article, and it just starts out with kind of the question about I think it's even titled, is the daily office commute over? And the article is really a lot of screenshots of like Twitter tweets or whatever. And but I thought that was kind of interesting because we talked about it on our last episode with Ken, just the routine. And that's a big thing. You hear, I mean, there's tons of articles just about like, you know, routines. And that's why like so many articles will do like the top, 5 richest people's routines or whatever, which is like clickbaity, but obviously like largely we care about that. And I think we care about it because having a routine does play a role in kind of how you function. And like Ken was talking about how if he doesn't have a routine, his brain is just going to go bonkers. I do also think it's interesting and valuable to explore not having your routine, or like, I recently had a career transition and I had an opportunity to sort of like not have a routine, which it was built into me to be like, all right, well, even though my routine isn't what it was, what's the next routine? Get up, run, check email, do this. and actually like specifically in my head was like, you know what? Like, I think it would be valuable for me. I mean, that routine was also a habit, right? Just, which I think is also like an interesting component of it. And so I think exploring your routine is good. And so what I did was I actually was like, nope, not going to have any routine. And I didn't have any, like, for a brief period of time, I didn't have any meetings or real obligations. But that was even hard. It was hard to like not go like, what am I supposed to do next? But anyway, I thought it'd be interesting.
The reset's tough.
Yeah, well, considering, not only, well, so my scenario is a little different than your average, the average scenario, at least for that, few weeks or whatever. But, what we did talk about recently was the fact that everybody is, there's been a lot of working from home. Some companies have even like transitioned to work from home only. And even a lot of,
before you get into that though, I wanted to say, like, on Ken's episode, I didn't get to say it like on there, I had to bounce, but like when he brought up the routine thing, it hit so hard with me, right? Because I didn't realize it almost until he said it. But like, if I have a routine, I am like, I stick to it and I'm going to do it. The second that routine is messed up or changed, I'm fucked. Like, I'm in chaos and it's all just gone. And it's like, I totally feel like I'm starting over, it's weird. Like, it's like, I'll think about it. Like, there was a time like when I was in Hawaii and like, I literally ate lunch at Subway every single day at 12:30. I literally I took a walk all through Waikiki, went and got my sandwich. I came back, I put on Jason Bourne, I put it on, I got on my computer, I eat my sandwich. And it was like, it was just habit. It was just like the thing. Right. And it felt so good to know what I was going to do next. But then then you move and you're like, well, fuck. I mean, do I go to this Subway? Should I try something new? And then I'm like, well, I don't know, whatever. Like it would totally jack me up. And I didn't realize it because it's like, I totally do have ADHD. I just think I'm in a different, like you brought up the spectrum. I think I'm in a slightly different place than where Ken is.
Yeah.
But everything he was saying was just like, it felt so relatable to me, where it's just like, I'll just crash like hard. Like I need that. And now like what you were getting into, I didn't realize how hard it was to work right now. Like I used to take my kids to school. I listen to my podcast on the way to work. I'd get to the office, say hi, have some coffee and bullshit with everybody. And like, then I'd knock things out. And like, it was like the steps. And now it's like, I took my kids to school. I came back and I'm like, I mean, I guess I could call everybody right now, or should I wait? Maybe they're doing something right now. Like now it's like this, like,
well, also there's like this, don't know if this is the right word, but like sort of leniency. I don't think that's the right word, but basically like you didn't have to take a shower before you took the kids because you're coming back home, which before you had to get up, get your ass cleaned because you knew you were going straight from there to the office or to the next thing. Right. Yeah, I think that's interesting. So how has it like, have you done anything to sort of combat that, or when did you even realize it, or was it like during the episode with Ken?
Well, it's been hard, but I mean, I've had my own company for a long time, like where it's just been me at home. So I've had to like teach myself a bunch of tips and tricks on how to actually get shit done.
Right.
So it's like, I already kind of know how to get the work done. The hard part is just when like, I want a routine and I don't have one, I don't think right now. And I think that Ken saying it in that last episode, it almost like was like more of a punch in the face of like, this is why you're not as high performing as you should be, because you don't have your routine down. Like every day is just kind of, cause it's like, we've talked about it before. I've always tried to like not have a routine. I've always tried to like make it in my life of like, I don't stress out about the things. I'm not trying to set up a bunch of meetings. I'm not trying to schedule my whole day.
Let me ask you something there. Were you trying not to set up a routine for real, or were you trying not to set up like this bloated like routine, kind of like what I used to have?
Now that I'm thinking about it through my head, I was just trying to set up a stress a low stress or no stress
Right.
day.
Not every 30-minute back to back on the
Yeah.
calendar.
Well, because it's like we were talking about with like the multitasking and how that's just not a thing. Like it just
Yeah.
it just stresses you out, and your context changing straight after another after another after another.
Dude, so
and you're just burnt.
taxing.
Yeah, you're just burned
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and you don't feel like you got anything done. All you did was take everybody's energy and all their input, and then just burned yourself out. You know, and there was no output.
I don't know if I told you this, but like at the beginning of the pandemic, you know, we had to, I mean, I know I've told you this part, and I mean, everybody went through a similar situation. Like, you know, anybody in leadership in a company at the beginning of the pandemic had to like, everybody realized like, we might die if we don't fucking hustle hard. And so, you know, my leadership team, we all basically went into like, I mean, deal mode, cold sales mode. We were having stand-ups every morning. Now, one side note was that before that, I think we met. It was either once a week. Not, I mean, you know my old schedule. I mean, I met all the time with all those individuals at different times. But we had like, I think we had one. We may have had like one meeting at the beginning of Monday and at the end of Friday or something, or every other end of Friday, because we did. We like to say that we didn't want to have unnecessary meetings. I think we had a lot, but we tried. But when the pandemic started, we had a meeting like every single morning. And I guess I'm getting a little off topic, but basically the drain of like, so then we'd meet a lot. So it'd be like, I would call like clients and have, you know, a 30-minute or an hour meeting. Then I would call one of my, you know, team members, you know, and then I was still managing, you know, a team of 50 people. And, you know, you still have to, you know, make sure that they're all doing well, because they all realize, and they're all like, are we all going to be fucking fired or whatever? So anyway, at the end of the day, I just remember like, and it was constant for a good period of time. At the end of the day, it'd be like, cause I mean, you know me, I fake a happy face, even if I'm about to fucking die. And it'd be like, all right, great. All right. Well, all right. You guys have a great day, and I'll, you know, see you tomorrow or whatever. And the office that I had set up there at the old house was basically in like a formal living room that we didn't use, but I had a couch, and I would literally just get done and I would walk over to the couch and just like literally, it was literally me doing nothing, but I would take deep breaths. I go, oh God, okay, it's over. And that on Friday, like at 6 p.m. on Friday or whatever time we could wrap shit up, literally that would be like, you know, times 5, you know, whatever, but it was like, just was like major. It'd be like, oh my God. And you know, you and I aren't the like, hey, we're looking forward to the weekend. I mean, we are, you know, the weekend's nice, but we're not, I mean, we still hustle. I mean, we just like doing stuff. We like doing what we do. So I've never really had the like, can't wait till Friday. Fuck Monday. But dude, during that time when it was like meeting, and context switching constantly, at the end of the week, I was looking forward to Friday, and Friday would come, and I would just go like, I would fucking collapse on the floor, and I wasn't even doing anything except like using my brain. But I mean, everyone knows that like mental exhaustion is a real thing, but it was just how much I noticed how exhausted I was just like, this is insane.
It's nuts, man. Like I just remember those days where it's like, for me, typically, like I play video games. Like that's my, all right, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to be brain dead and play some video games. And like during most of the pandemic, like there's times where it's like I have so much of that like brain drain that you're talking about that like I couldn't even play video games. I couldn't do anything. I was just like, I can't even think to do this. Like I just got to like, and basically, you know, a friend of mine, Eric, who's building AIM 7, he was like, you need to go outside.
Yeah.
He's like, most people don't realize it because he's like a coach. Like he's coached like, you know, Olympic athletes.
He's
and
super
like
smart,
all this
dude.
kind of stuff. Yeah. And he was just like, most people don't realize that you need sunlight, and you know, and like there's the whole
that's
circadian
weird
rhythm and like all this kind of stuff. Like
now, did you know that already, or was that a learning?
It's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, I'd heard it.
You hear it, you
times,
actually
and
kind of
like,
just go like, meh.
Or it's like, but he would bring up the stats, and I was like, yeah, but I mean, I'm driving at sunset, and he's like, no, you lose like 46% of the type of thing that you would get from the sun through the window. right?
Oh,
Like,
that's
it's
interesting.
not the same. He's
Oh,
like,
shit.
going outside is a different thing, and breathing the air and see the sunlight hitting you and your heart pumping and taking all that in and filtering it out is totally different than sitting in a car.
Yeah.
He's like, and it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes 2 minutes. If you do 2 minutes in the morning, 2
Yeah.
minutes at sunset, I guarantee you it'll like change your life.
Well,
And that's what I've been doing, like, because I was sick last year with COVID and everything, and like that truly was like a big part of like getting my energy back.
yeah.
And so like
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I've tried to make that a routine. And my wife, she has trouble sleeping, and so when we can remember to do it, like, it actually helps her sleep, because it's like
Oh,
it's like,
that's
'cause
pretty
you have to like
interesting.
tell your brain, like with all the phones and everything, it's like you have to tell it to turn off,
Right.
and like we never turn off. That's what you were talking about,
Right.
the notification dopamine
Ugh.
hits and stuff like that. It's like that's the world we live in.
Well, that's really interesting. I don't know if I just forgot you said his name. That your AIM 7 guy.
Eric Corum, he's
Yeah.
probably
So
the
I know he's
smartest person on the planet.
Yeah, I know you've talked about him, and I know he's in that like sort of group of like extreme optimal human performance guys, and he sounds really cool. I got to meet him sometime, but you know who Andrew Huberman is, right? Or have you heard the name? Yeah. So that guy is fucking brilliant, and so he talks a lot about direct sunlight as well, and how you need to actually have it to, the value of it having being not directly into your cornea, like not like you're staring
Just
at the
stare
sun.
at the sun for 30 minutes.
But that the sun does it does have direct fuck, I can't even talk. But it's like going directly in your eyes, basically. And so what I've been doing every morning is I get up and I stand in my office because the sun blasts into my office. And I'll just look at the neighbors, whatever. I'll just look outside for a little bit. Or, I will walk out sometimes. And now that you mentioned the window, reducing it, I'm like, oh yeah, all of my windows have fucking UV protection on them. Like, just piss me off because I'm like, damn it. So yeah, now I'll walk outside and just like chill out. And the one thing that's been really interesting when the sun's out and it's warm is like doing the ice baths, and like the sun is like just on my face.
I know. I'm gonna come do it. It's like, I'm gonna do it. It's like one of those things. It's not a fear. It's like a hatred. Like, I hate
dude, it's
cold.
fear.
I hate
for
cold
me
so much. Like, it's like,
it
I know
hurts.
I'm not gonna die, but I feel like I'm gonna die. Like that's literally like, and I haven't even done it. Like, that's
here's what
where
I'll tell
I'm
you.
at right now.
So I've done it. I got way into it with my old coach Tyler Nicholson, who is way into the human optimization stuff as well. And I love that we have all these friends that do like deep research, because we do like surface level.
Yeah.
And we do it to a level where we know it's like, yes, this is valuable, and I know what it does and what it doesn't. But then when somebody comes and asks you like, why do you do the ice baths? And you're like, because it's good for you. And I'm like,
Because it's awesome.
yeah, I'm like, let me Google it, and I'll get back to you. But shit, now I'm losing track of what I was talking about. Oh yeah, but basically, the as far as ice baths go, I did it before. They're painful, but once you do it, and then you realize like, okay, you get out. It's reps that make you go like, okay, this is only gonna hurt for a minute, and then I'll be good.
I mean, I've done it. Like, we did it like in school, like after like hardcore practices and gyms and like all like crazy stuff. Like, I hated it. I hate it more than anything. I hate cold. I hate snow. It's literally feels to me like 1,000 knives are stabbing me at the same time.
Yeah. That is what it feels like. Were you doing whole body?
No, it was a small like
So yeah,
the
prepare
canister.
yourself.
It was a lower body thing. It was mostly like legs and stuff after you do like crazy squats and shit. Like,
which, interestingly, we're going down a path of like where we're not experts, but interestingly,
I'm not at
they
all.
say that that's like not what you should do. Like, the inflammation you get right after a workout is actually your body like sending I'm fucking solid, but it's like sending the blood there. It's like doing all the things that it needs to do to like heal what you just did to it, because you're basically like breaking down your shit or whatever, your muscles and all that.
And it's one of those things, like, I always think back to high school and stuff, and like, it's the same thing we talked about before. It's like, well, they don't teach finance. I feel like they don't teach Like, even though you're in sports and like you're an athlete and you do all these things, even going into college, it's like, unless you have like a personal trainer type thing, like no one's talking about nutrition and supplements and whatever, like the things that actually make you optimal. Like they're just like, here's some workouts to do. Well, here's how to get faster. Here's how to get stronger.
Also, keep in mind, like when we were in school, people were idiots in regards to nutrition. I mean, there's like basic nutrition, like calories in, calories out kind of stuff, which is also like a highly, debated topic. But generally, at least, like, if you're trying to lose weight, you like, don't consume as many calories as you burn or whatever. And that kind of stuff is like kind of basic. But now, dude, like there's so much. And I think it's like, one of the things that has come out of like all the ability to share via, just the internet and all that shit, I mean, like, I feel like there's some stuff that's pretty, like some people have some pretty dialed in shit. Like you and I have done some experimentation, and I've done it based on like research that other people have done. So I'll do my own like research and kind of find their shit, and you try shit, and like when it works, it fucking works. And anyway, I mean, yeah, we're kind of going down to
do whatever you tell me to do. That's pretty much my approach to it. I let you be the guinea pig, and if it works for you, then you tell me, and then I'll do it.
Yeah. But to get back, man, we derailed a lot.
Speaking of commuting back to the office.
Well, yeah, and so we talked about routine and all that, and kind of how you were looking, getting sun exposure and how that helped. One of the other things, though, from, we kind of brought up the calendar that I've actually noticed. So I used to really get upset whenever people would miss meetings. Being late was even kind of like annoying. But you would, or if it was like somebody's late and then you're like, hey, are you coming? You're like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I'll be right there. And you're like, dude, fucking like, come on, like use your calendar or whatever. And in my head, I had this idea that people just weren't using calendars at all. Cause I actually had one guy many years back that I brought on to help me start up the front end development practice. And so he wanted to be like, I brought him on to like get there. I didn't just hire him into that role. And he was from what I understood, he was a good front end developer. But there was a time when we were interviewing someone and he needed to be there. And it was me and one of my other execs like where the fuck is this guy? And so we're interviewing this person and we see him walk up the stairs and just moseying in like he's got nowhere to go. And so I'm like, I run out. I'm like, hey, dude, you're supposed to be in this meeting. And he's like, oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't check my calendar. I'm like, you fucking idiot. And he basically was like, yeah, I've got to. And at one point, he said something to me at the time. Well, it's still absurd. You have to have a calendar, right? And so he made this comment. He's like, oh yeah, I need to download the calendar app on my phone or something. And I was like, how do you even fucking function? And so, I mean, obviously that's like the extreme version, but what I've noticed is the fact that I don't have all these back-to-back meetings that when there's just one thing on my calendar, say for like, 3 p.m. tomorrow, and the rest of it, like, which is beautiful now that I have like deep work time, but I've definitely like been late or even like missed some calendar meetings, or, meetings that are on the calendar where I'm just like, okay, now I see... Obviously not that extreme version, but I see what kind of some of the people that would kick ass on my team that would just like be late to or miss meetings. I was like, oh, I get it. You're like in hyper-focused mode or you're just not keeping track of time. And now it's happening to me and I'm like, all right, my bad.
You get it now? I feel like this is this is my whole life. In elementary school, I used to walk to school, right? Because my parents both left early for work. And I was late every single day of school, so much that Mrs. Robinson, Miss Robinson, my fifth.
Yeah, we're both having our phones just going off like crazy. I've got focus on. What the hell?
She bought me an alarm clock. Like
seriously?
And like the biggest like kind of like what's his name? Flavor Flav, like ginormous one, but the kind that with the bell that's like she's like this is the loudest one I could find. She's like, this is the loudest one I can find. She goes, if this doesn't wake you up in the morning to get you to school on time, then nothing ever will. And nothing did because I was still late after she gave it to me.
That's, dude. So our good friends, the Almendarazes, that are the founders of Fun Size. We've talked a lot about me and Anthony having started a company a long time ago, and so I spent a lot of time at their place when they lived in New York, and I'm such a light sleeper. But it was one of the craziest things. Like their alarm would be going off, and it's one of those alarms that like it's like the bell basically, but it's like digital, so it's like. I mean, just like you can't sleep through that shit. But they would just be sleeping, like they'd just be crashed out. And Natalie actually posted this on Instagram where it was like, I guess she had written on it, me sleeping through an alarm or whatever, and it was basically some sort of meme where this chick was like, you could hear the iPhone's kind of standard do 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 or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, and it had like a lady like dancing in a club to it, and I was like,
oh,
yeah,
like the what you're doing in your dream, like while it's going
yeah,
off.
totally.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm dreaming I'm in a club and dancing, and it's the alarm is the music.
No, I because we talked about this. I was sending you this. People make this like digital frame, like it's actual physical calendar.
I'm super interested in this.
It looks cool, but it's made with like a Raspberry Pi and it's super techy and cool, and I like it. But I don't want it because of the coolness. I want it because the second that I leave my desk and I go over there, and then I'm like, oh shit, it didn't give me the reminder that I've got a meeting in 1 minute, and so I'm like, oh crap, like I need it like everywhere. Like I need the Jarvis and like the Iron Man, like no matter what room I am in the house, it's like, hey Ray, you have a meeting in 2 minutes.
Dude,
just so you know.
I think we're gonna get there. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, I mean,
but
I think the pieces are already there. It's just I don't have it hooked up in my life right now.
Well, that means it's not like a consumer ready product then, right? Because you just need to be able to go buy that shit anywhere off Amazon, and it's like it serves this function, right?
Well, but like with all
does it exist?
Like, I mean, you could do that with the Apple HomePod, with the Alexas, with like Google Home, with all that different kind of stuff.
I do have this Alexa
and you could set
show
reminders
that I've never even fucking hooked up yet. I've had it for like 6 months.
Give me that if you're not gonna use it.
Pass.
We're all Alexa up in this house. But that's the thing. When I set reminders, so it's like I have to set like levels. It's like, okay, remind me when to leave if I got to drive there. Remind me 5 minutes before that. And so like I'll keep like making mini calendar pieces, of like where it is. So
this,
it's like I end up like leveling
this is where
one thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Because if you just put one big swath of like, this is this meeting or whatever, it doesn't give you enough context to go like, oh, this is me getting ready. Then you look at the calendar invite, and you're like, oh, I got to be there at 10 o'clock. And you're like, no, wait, actually 10 o'clock was the time I need to get ready. 10:30 was time for me to leave or whatever. So that's what I'm saying though. That's not a consumer. That's not like you're utilizing it that way, but it would be way better if something in your house was just like, in a very nice voice too. It's like one of the voices from like Mindspace or something. It's like, hey Ray, just FYI, it's time to start getting ready.
So, and this is like, I don't know if you've read this book, and I don't read a lot of books, and I had to listen to it.
I'm already impressed.
I listened to it. I didn't actually read it. I can't. But Jake Knapp, the guy who made like the Design Sprint book.
Yeah. You're talking about that next book?
It's called Make Time, right?
Make Time.
And the first, like, I don't know if it's at the very beginning or not, but I've tried to do this, and it's been working okay. I haven't, like, made it perfect yet. And he's talking to somebody, and maybe it's the other guy that's on there, John, what does it say? Rapatsky? I don't know. He's talking to somebody, and he was like, you think that everything that happens when you're not in meetings or whatever is like minuscule and minor and not important, but it's the most important, so much that you should literally break it down in your calendar, and that's the only way that you'll create time for yourself. So he's like, take a shower, eat cereal. These are all blocks, like
I do that.
Of like, take a shower, iron your clothes, and then like get in, like warm up the car, drive there, meeting time, take a break, you know what I mean? Like, he literally, it looks crazy on the calendar, but it's like a way for that like routine that we're talking about that could be solidified, right?
Well, here's the other thing that it does. Like, It's easy. I think most people are late because they underestimate the amount of time it's going to take them. So it's like, all right, we need to leave the house by 8 or whatever to get the kiddo to school on time. But it's like there's a period of time when they're like eating cereal or whatever they're doing, and it's it's like it's almost 8, and then it's like, oh wait a minute, there's this whole like getting out the door period. That it's like it's gonna be 8:15 before you actually start driving or whatever. But that's one scenario. But I think the other is just like if you also realize that you got up a little late and your shower time is this, like if we need to do all this stuff before like a scheduled appointment time, it kind of gives you an idea also of like, okay, here's all the stuff I have to do, and I wasn't able to get that done on time, or maybe I just need to like do a super quick rinse off instead of like the normal like get feeling good shower or something. It's just a way to kind of like maybe catch back up just because like, oh yeah, I still have to do this or that. I don't know. It's kind of nice just because it makes you remember like it is kind of goes back to the routine thing. It's like here's everything I need to do to be able to be successful at this point at this time that I want to be ready.
For me, and I might just be like making up excuses for why I'm late all the time, but I feel like I'm late because of another whole psychological problem of not saying no to other people. And like, so it's not even just that. It's oh, my wife needs something. Oh, my kids need this thing. Oh, he forgot this thing. I got to take it to school. Oh, somebody called and said they need me to help them like lift this thing and put it in this. And like, I don't ever want to say no to people. And so I'm always kind of like, I could fit that in. I could fit that in. Let me go do that real quick.
We got to work on that.
You know, and I know it's something I've really been trying to I like it that people count on me for things, but it can be detrimental to me so much. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm trying to work on it. Yeah, no, it's like these episodes have actually been more like counseling for me, like listening to Ken and then listening to Ben, and it's like I'm like, okay, what could I ask my counselor of how to fix myself? But
that's major though. It's like you're putting ahead of everybody else's needs to make sure they're good, and then at the end of the day, you're like kind of fucked because you're like, well, I wasn't able to like do the thing I wanted to do or get the thing done that I needed to get done. So now I'm gonna have to stay up late, but I'm gonna still have to be up early because I still have to do this other shit or whatever.
Yeah, and typically it's both. Like I got to stay up late to finish the thing, or like right after this, I just remembered that I told somebody I'd get them something, and I gotta have to knock something out for them real quick. So it's like it's always something. There's always a million other things outside of my own just like work and personal calendar.
Right. Well, do you ever go back and retroactively put stuff on the calendar?
Like what?
So like. Say, us recording this podcast or whatever. If we didn't have it on the calendar, because we had to reschedule.
If it wasn't on the calendar, I wouldn't be able to do it. Because
I mean retroactively. Like, say, like after this, you go and you put it on the calendar.
I know.
Like, I want to know what I did at that time.
Oh no, I don't do that.
Wait, but what were you about to say?
Oh, I was gonna say like I'm gonna plan this out. Like I'm gonna put it on the calendar forever now. On like certain days, and then we can shuffle that. Like we can go up and down, but if it's not on there, I'll look at my calendar first thing in the morning, right when I roll out of bed, and be like, I don't have anything today, and just like leave my phone here and just like walk off and go do something, and like and you'll be like, where the fuck are you? It's just because it wasn't on my calendar, so I didn't even think about it. It didn't even come into my brain.
I'm 100% the same. Like I used to tell people like. They'd be like, oh yeah, we talked about, catching up at this time or whatever. And I was like, did you send me an invite? Cause like I don't have the brain space to know what's going on unless it's on my calendar. But no, what I was talking about is like actually going back and putting something. So if somebody pings me on Slack or something like, hey, can you catch up? Do you have time? And I do, or if I do have time and we meet, I'll go back and I'll put it on there. And I'll even invite them. And, sometimes people are like, that's kind of funny. Why'd you do that? I was like, yeah, just so we know what we did this week or what we know when we met or, we know when we had a meeting together. Because otherwise, I mean, we can stay really busy and, I haven't had to do this in a long time, but it's like at the end of the week, if you ever have to say like, yeah, what all did you work on this week or whatever? I know a lot of people in a work atmosphere do kind of have to do that. And it's not necessarily like micromanagement. It's just like a general like, hey, what were you able to accomplish? And you'll be like, fuck, I don't know. Like I was so busy this week, but I can't remember. So I started like putting shit on the calendar.
Every week, dude. Because we do a weekly that goes out to the whole company. And like I have to write it for like whatever the experience team was like working on. And every Friday I'm like, fuck, what do we do? Like, what were we working on? I know we've been knocking stuff out. And so, but the hard part with that, and maybe I guess it's exactly your point. I don't have meetings that were pertain to the things that we are knocking out every time. Right. Like, and so it's kind of hard to go put back like, oh, we were working on this random concept that I made up in my head because I know for the future of this company, that's something that we're going to need that I made up, so it's like, it's hard to be like, let me drop that in the calendar so I can remember it. It's like, I don't know, the company's set up a little differently in the way that
I didn't necessarily like, I wouldn't be that granular.
I get what you're saying though. Like I'm trying to figure out how I can introduce it into my life. And because I would love if there was just here's the bullets of everything that got taken care of.
I don't even think you need to do that. That's what I'm talking about. You don't even need to be that granular. It's like met with the team regarding general sort of statement, right? And that way, because I'll have zero recollection of what we did yesterday.
No, I get that. I'm almost thinking like, I hate the calendar, and maybe that's what it is. That I think this would be good like in Notion or in something like a blurb, like you know what I'm saying? Like honestly, what I'll end up doing is I'll text myself. Like that actually works the best for me. Do you do that? I text myself like all the time.
Yeah, I do.
And I Slack myself
I'll lose that
all
shit
the time too.
Yeah, same.
So I'll Slack, like if it's about the podcast, I'll Slack it to myself in that channel in Slack. Or if it's like about work, I'll Slack it to myself in my work one. Or if it's personal, I'll text myself.
Yeah, we do get crazy going back and forth. I do this with you more than anyone, where it's like we'll have text going and Slack going.
Yeah.
And like, so even this morning, I sent you back a message, and then I looked in our text, and I was like, who did I send that message to? Because it's not here. And then I went and I saw it in Slack. But no, okay, so kind of wrapping back, like the calendar thing, I think that why aren't digital calendars more of a thing? Like digital wall calendars. It seems like that's a great opportunity, because you remember everybody used to have that fold down calendar. You can still buy those at CVS. Yeah. Almost bought one for Essex about space last night, but those are those are still okay, honestly. No. But a digital one where it's hooked to your computer, so when you add something and you get kind of this like, it'd be nice to make like this beautiful digital display or whatever. That seems like it should be a thing.
I 100% agree. Like, and the ones that I was seeing like on Etsy, they're all like handmade. They're like $1,000. I feel like it feels so expensive for something so simple.
I'm just going to keep saying we need the consumer version.
Well, but honestly, like it's like totally about placement, right? Like I need that at my front door. Right. And so it's like I go to take the kids out, and as I'm looking, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta hurry. I gotta get back for that meeting. I didn't even realize that was there. Like, because it's like I'm waking up early, like, getting everybody together, getting kids clothes, brush your teeth, you got everything. And then, it's like I haven't even started thinking about myself yet, or like my day yet, So I don't know. I want this, but I want it for everything. Like there's the calendar piece, but like I want like a wall right here with like a command center of like
a dashboard.
Here is like Ray's health right now, like, and he hasn't done shit. He needs to go do something, and it's like staring at me, right? Because it's like even the watch, like it's like, well, I'm not always looking at my watch. Like that's like in my face. Like I need something to yell at me, and it's like, here's like the bills you got to pay or your finances or whatever, and then
here's the problem. You're going to put so much stuff up there that it's all going to like disappear to you. It's just going to be shit up there.
It becomes
it's just a calendar. Yeah. Well, so kind of like wrapping us back around, we started it like,
hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm a solutionizer, and I feel like, okay,
all right.
Because I had this idea of my Hawk, he streams on Twitch, right? And like the whole thing is like you have people that comment while you're playing the game, and you like have to look over to your other screen and see what somebody wrote. But literally, if people are chatting, it's like how do you keep up with it? It's crazy. And so I wanted to make this thing for him that literally you'd have a screen up here, and it would literally just show the last comment, one, right? And so like that's what the TV would show. It was like, here's the most important thing right now that's coming up that you need to focus on. One thing. And then when that passes, it's like, here's the another thing. So I just need the minimized version of like one thing at a time, slow your shit down, but get your shit done.
That's the calendar, man. That's it.
But the calendar's got so much shit on it.
Yeah, but it displays the one thing at a time that you should be focused on. And then it's got maybe a little thing over here that says this is coming up.
Okay, so you're saying not a calendar view.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, like there could be a calendar view, but yeah, well, you know, you can see your Google Calendar that way too, like an event view, which I don't ever look at it that way.
Can you?
But you can. But all right, so we're gonna wrap this back around.
Transition.
Well, getting back on the commute or on the just working in the office piece. You used to do a hybrid, right?
We were never required to like work at the office. We just had it, right? Like it was there. I had a desk, but like, you know, it's like, I think, especially when our company first got started, most of us were older. We all had kids. It's like we all had startups. We'd all like gone through this before. Like we kind of like know the process, and it was like very much a just get your shit done. And so yeah, we were like, you know, I'd probably be in the office. I preferred going to the office because I felt like I got more done because my kids were a lot younger and like needed a lot more stuff, and you know, so it was actually a way to break away from that and focus on work.
Well, and like the fact that you're, you know, a product company, that makes it a little bit of a difference from like a services company where you have to do these workshops with clients and a lot of people and all that regularly.
Well, we did, because remember when I first started, we were a services company, and our clients are all in Europe, and so we literally would come in and everything was over Zoom, so it didn't really matter if we were in the office or, you know, or in our bedroom. You know, it was still just like we're all going to talk to the client every day, every week, you know, kind of thing. So, but yeah, we were definitely hybrid. Where were you going with that?
Well, so that article that I was talking about, basically it says that, you know, basically 30%, I think this is probably just based on the United States. I don't see it necessarily right here, but, oh no, it's globally. So over 68% of the people surveyed globally say they would prefer a hybrid working model. According to Bloomberg, citing Future Forum's latest quarterly poll, just 30% currently work from the office every day, and 95% say they want flexibility in their schedule. And that's kind of funny the way they wrote it, like want flexibility in their schedule. I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about, you know, flexibility to work from home or the office, which is interesting. So we went through this. We basically had we built out our office, and I think when we built the office out, we probably weren't even quite 100 yet. And we built the office out with the ability to get up to 100 and comfortably like 165, where everybody has their own seat. And then we could cram in enough seating for like 200 people. But during the pandemic, we actually grew because, like I said, we were fucking hustling hard. So we kept our accounts, then more accounts grew, and then accounts came back. And, you know, we hired up to be able to meet those opportunities. And it was very salesy sounding, to be able to meet those opportunities. But basically, we surpassed our maximum capacity. And we knew that some people didn't want to come to the office at all. Some people wanted to come to the office all the time. And then some people wanted, you know, a mix. So what we wanted at that point was then a mix. Like we liked, before the pandemic, we pretty much, it was like required to work from the office. Like a lot of flexibility though. Like you want to work from home or take a day off or go on vacation. I mean, all that was fine. But for the most part, it was like, generally we want to be in the office together. And, but now it was like we were incentivized you know, from the company's perspective, to want people to not be in the office all the time because we couldn't fit everybody in the office. And so I sent out this survey, and it basically was just like, you know, 1 or less days, you know, 2, 3, 4, and 5 days a week. And like, I don't know, 5 people out of like, you know, 200 and something were like, yeah, I'm going to be there every day. Some people were like, yeah, 4 days. Most people were, you know, actually not most, about 30% of the people were like 3 days. And then the rest were like 2 or less. And so basically, because, you know, people like having their own desk, I was like, hey guys, here's what we're going to do. We have a lot of new people and we don't have enough desks for everyone. So what we're going to do is if you are in the office 3 or more days, you can keep your desk. And I mean, I tried to write it very diplomatically because I knew people were going to shit their pants. You know, the person that comes in once every other week is going to be like, oh, what? I want my desk. And that was kind of what happened. So I send out this email, and then I get like a barrage of emails that's like, hey, actually, you know what? I am going to be in the office three or more days a week. And I was like, all right, you literally selected like 1 or less. So that's interesting. But
territorial.
what we ended up, I know. And I mean, you know, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I have a desk, you know, I want my shit. I don't have to like pack up my whole thing. But what we ended up doing was like this like hot desking where it's like basically if you're there, you know, 3 or more days, you have a desk, and then otherwise there's all these desks and you come in, just get one. And, you know, of course we were like, if you're going to have your team there, then, you know, in advance, put something on the desk or something. I mean, there's a lot of shit that was like difficult to figure out, but I wasn't sure if you had gone through anything like that, but I do think that like the hot desking is probably like the future.
I don't know. Like I actually think so. Well, our buddy Bo works at WordPress or Automatic, right?
Uh-huh.
And for years now, what they would do is they're global, right? So they're completely remote, but they would build out these badass offices. Right. And really what they were was like meeting places. Like you could have a meeting there, you could have a party there, you could have whatever, but also there's desks. And if you work there and you want to work there, have at it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that to me, I see the future, right? Like almost like everyone has a WeWork account.
That's kind of what I'm talking about though.
Well, but you still have the office. Yours is more the desks that are moving around. I'm saying like that no one has an office anymore, and offices are like a Uber car. There's just, you pick which WeWork type place you want to work at today.
But wait, how are you saying Automatic does it? You said they build out a really cool office.
They have their own. I'm saying I think the future isn't that. I'm saying the future is not having an office, letting a separate third-party company build out offices.
Yeah.
And like companies are going to give like a monthly whatever, get you memberships to this one or whatever, and you pick which one is the coolest to you. Like, because for me, an office is just like an inspirational place. Like, it looks cool. Like, I'm not going to go sit in a cubicle. I want to go to like a cool
totally.
And
I guess that was going to kind of be my argument, but I guess WeWorks are pretty cool. I guess all these like office as a service places are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've seen some shitty ones, but the ones like I was in the WeWork in San Francisco, and it was pimp. Like, cause it's like whoever does their interior design is very much like my style. It's all very like mid-century modern versus with crazy modern and like just like cool ass stuff, you know. So like I dug it. Like it was dope. Like, and all I would do just because I can't help it. It's like you walk through there and you're just like, okay, that's 500, 1,000, 1,000. Like that's what all these people are paying per month, and I'm just like, God damn it, I need to buy a building and just do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like I see that as the future.
Yeah, just buy a building, Ray.
But it's interesting though, right? Because Google and like Apple and Microsoft, they just spent like hundreds of millions of dollars on like all their campuses, right? But all their people don't want to come back. They're like, no, we're good. Microsoft, one of them was like, you can work from home forever, and then Google was like, no, we want everyone to come back, and they were like, no, well, Microsoft said they can work home forever. Why can't we work from home forever? And they're like, because we just spent $100 million on your private chefs and all of your crap and your massage rooms and all of these things for you. So we'd like you to use it, you know? And everyone's like, I'm good.
Oh, that's so crazy. I'm one of the people that'd be like, I'll be there. I'm going to come have lunch and get a massage.
Totally.
Go back home.
No, like, I mean, honestly, like that was what we talked about, me like failing my interviews at Google. But the reason that I wanted to work there was because the thing that me and my wife fight about the most is how much I spend on lunch from going to the office. So the fact that they would literally just give me lunch for free and it would be good would mean like, fuck, it's a win-win. Like I get the food, I get the coffee, and I didn't get in trouble with my wife, and we're all good. You know, it's like, man, I want it. You know,
and if you could indulge on the food and coffee,
I'll bring like some home.
Like $50.
Totally.
Yeah. I've actually heard that. I've heard people. Well, I've actually had someone do that a long time ago. So we used to buy lunch for everyone when we were a lot smaller, and we never like put like a price limit, because when you order something, if you go to that place, it's like, we'll say it's like $12. If you order it, by the time because they're adding all these service fees for delivering it to you, it'll be like $20. And so, but we didn't care if it was like sometimes it kind of balanced out. Like some days we would order from places, or just what people would order would be like on the $12 or $20 or even $25 from time to time. It wasn't like a big deal. And then we kept noticing like the bill kind of just like was a little higher because there wasn't enough of us to offset it. Like it was just noticeable. And we saw that one of the employees was like ordering like $60 worth of food. Jeez. And that's what he was doing. He was buying stuff to take home and feed the family too. And we're like, okay, he's like the sweetest, nicest guy who like wouldn't steal directly, but for some reason his brain disconnected the idea that like he's like taking advantage of that. He's like, oh, it's like free food, I'm just gonna get as much as I can, or whatever.
It's just like Google.
And right, yeah. Because I don't think that if he saw me paying out of my pocket if we went to lunch, he would be like, give me everything on the menu. But for some reason this was okay. And anyway,
it's interesting though that you said that about this person, because like I've talked with my wife about this before, because we both have had employees that are the complete opposite of what you just described, that take full advantage every single
knowingly
time. Yeah, where it's just like, oh, you're taking us out to eat? I would like, the tomahawk steak and get me 2 of those appetizers. And like, what's the most expensive thing on the menu? That's what I would like.
It's like they think they're paying and they're like, I'll just have a salad. And you're like, all right, guys, I'm going to pick it up today. And they're like, actually, I'll have dessert and a steak and...
Totally.
You're like, wait a minute.
And it's like... It's one of those things. It's like, I want everybody to have good shit. I'm not like a cheap ass if I'm taking somebody out. But you can just tell when it's obvious of someone that's like, I'm all about taking advantage of the situation and taking advantage of you. And it's just like, I mean, those people didn't last on my team. Like it's like a personality trait that I feel like just doesn't work well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could kind of dissect that and be like, they obviously know that they weren't really considering themselves. It seems like they probably weren't considering themselves a part of the company, because if they were, they would kind of put a little bit more thought into like the funds of the company or the person who is,
we talked about this before, about like, it's like different generations work differently, because like grandpa will be like, the kids today don't work hard anymore. I think that they work so differently, and I think that perspective doesn't exist anymore. I don't think anyone that works at a place gives a shit about that company or like the money and the things that they have to pay. They're almost like seeing themselves as the value, and that company just needs to value them, not they need to value what the company is doing. I feel like it's switched a lot.
Well, and honestly, I think it probably, I think it has, and I think there's positive and negative from that. I think because of that, there are better work environments and all that. But yeah, it's like taking something just too far where, if you think you're the whole reason, it's a weird mindset, which I think I know what you're talking about, but it's, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how those people how their careers pan out. because right now we just so happen to be in a time where like designers and developers and just digital, people in digital workforces are like needed and desired, and there's a lot of opportunity. But over a period of time, over some period of time at least, all those youngsters that are in school now, I don't know, the market of people that can fulfill these roles is going to grow. And so then when you're not just needed, kind of what I'm saying is like, as a company, you're like, well, I have to hire this person. Otherwise we can't fulfill these, like I said earlier, these opportunities we have. And as a business, we need to like fulfill those opportunities in order to get the revenue to grow this business. So it's like, I guess I have to have more leniency because this other company over here is going to like, do these things. Like there's one local company that they went full remote, but they put out this big PR release that spun it as though they were like, because we value our employees and blah 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 blah. And so every company is going to like sell you on the idea of how great they are. And so now you have to like play that game, and you can't just lie, right? They can't just start and be like, wait, you said I could have unlimited vacation, or we're going to have lunch or whatever, and then not have it. So I guess my super long-winded thing is like designers and developers and like all these creators are super valuable now, and they kind of have more ability to be like, nah, fuck that, I'm going to do something else or do my own thing. And I think there's just a different mindset in general, which is like, I can work a little bit and then I can go do something or whatever. That's kind of a whole different thing.
Yeah. But I was going to, I don't know, spin on that whole, I've always felt like the whole unlimited vacation thing felt like a trap, right? Like where it's like people say that. Mm-hmm. Every company, it's like part of the thing now, right?
I've got a lot of opinions on this.
But I feel like if I just take a few months off, like I kind of just lost a bunch of stuff, and people are going to be like, where you at, man?
Okay, yeah.
I thought you were working, like I was like,
you're definitely looking at unlimited vacation and it's more like a sabbatical or something.
No, honestly, that's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that, let's say that I wasn't. Let's just say I took off a week every other week. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's like you say it as a perk, and then it's like, but you can't really use it that way because then you're going to look at it in a negative way, right?
Well, yeah, because you won't be able to do your job.
Yeah, but it's there.
Okay. So
why not just say that you got 4 weeks or 3 weeks vacation and just call it that?
Because that's not true either. Like both of those scenarios would make it to where you can't actually add value to the company, right? Yeah. You can't take every other week off and add. Okay, if you're just doing like little shit, like some graphic design or whatever, like sure you could do that. There's no way you can take every other week off fully and like get a project with hard deadlines that have been scheduled out and all this stuff like done.
Okay, so let's flip it then. Let's say I take a week off every month. I could get a lot done in 3 weeks every month. Am I still going to be looked at negatively, and I'm taking advantage of the whole thing, and like that's not how this is only supposed to be?
No, only if you leave your. So there's a lot of factors here. So what's the size of your team? What are the expected meeting cadences, kind of stuff? That could work. I don't think it would work very well, but you're talking about like these tiny increments, like every month. So you're basically saying every 3 weeks you take a full week. So a fourth of your time is vacated. That's like you're looking at like my interpretation of what you're saying is that you're looking at unlimited vacation as unfucking limited life freedom, but you're still going to get a paycheck.
Yeah, but if I only take a week off a month, that's not unlimited freedom. That's a week off to like I just killed myself for 3 weeks and now I'm like recharging for a week.
So that could work, and it would be on you to make sure you have everyone set up and prepared to be be successful those weeks when you're
you
gone.
get where I'm going with this, right? Like it's like
Well,
it's like
sorta.
it's different.
Look,
where it's
I'm the
like,
one that had to create. I'm one of the people that had to write this shit up, and I'm also one of the people that's been shit on a bunch by, like, here's the funny thing. Everybody will say they want unlimited vacation, then you give them unlimited vacation, and they're all like, "Yeah, but we don't feel like we're not going to be scrutinized." You know, I've heard this so many times that it's like a trigger. It's kind of a trigger. I don't really give a fuck,
No.
but that's the thing. You give people like, you know, X amount of time, and they're like, well, so and so has fucking unlimited vacation. And I get where people talk about like it's a psychological thing. Like even like we even got talked about as a leadership team where it's like you're giving everybody unlimited vacation, but like, you know, you guys work all the time and you're supposed to be setting the example. And so if we don't do like what you do, then like we're going to be looked down on. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you do. I said you could have unlimited vacation. Now, to address your point, what you have to be able to do to take advantage of it's unlimited. Oh, I'm glad you. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to rebrand it. This is unlimited vacation opportunity. How about that? Because there's an opportunity. Maybe that's still not right. The reality is I'm fucking hiring you because I need you to fucking add value to the team. And if you're gone all the time, then you're not adding any value. So, but there are like project durations. And when that project's over, if you schedule that shit, you can take, now here's where I'll probably trigger you. Like, really, like, I don't want you to take more than a 2-week vacation. But look, you can take multiple 2-week vacations throughout the year. By the end of the year, you can have basically fucking 2 months off. You just can't take 2 months in one swing. Because then, like,
but in reality, though, like, I mean, you know, it's like work is back to back to back to back to back.
That's why I said opportunity.
There are no breaks.
Well,
and
no,
gaps.
if you schedule it.
Yeah, but now
work's back
but
to back.
Now it's like cool. I took 2 weeks off, and then now it's like the second that I'm back, we're back on it again, and it's like okay, well now it's like I got another 2 weeks. So in the whole year, I took 2 vacations that were 2 weeks long, and I got a month. I didn't get unlimited. I wasn't able to like take these breaks all the time, and like I wasn't able to like recharge because that's the whole point of a vacation.
Okay,
for me.
here's the other piece of it. You couldn't recharge over 2 weeks.
2 times in a year.
Yeah, like that's the point of vacation. Like
No.
I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
saying
about right now.
there should be more recharges than 2 in a whole fucking year. Is my point.
Well, yeah, you're just making that up though. Like
Yeah,
you could.
because of the way that work actually happens.
But
like,
here's the other thing. Well, yeah, you have to schedule
every
it. That's
3
on
months.
you to,
Okay,
like,
let's
be able
change
to
it. I
figure
went
it
from
out.
1 month. I couldn't do it. Now you're saying that's negative. If I did it every 3 months, like I took 2 weeks off. Like you see that? Like it's like I can get work done in fucking 2 weeks if I wanted to. It's like people work that way. Like they'll make it last as long as it needs to last for whatever it is that they're doing. But like my point is it feels like a sales hook than it is an opportunity that you're bringing up.
Okay. Well, let me finish this point, and then I want to hear your solution for it. So the other piece of this is the unlimited vacation is like you can take vacation days. Like I guess that's the big problem is that people hear unlimited vacation and they're like, I'm gonna fucking take 2 months off. The reality is like you need to take a day off from time to time. I don't give a fuck. The way a normal or a traditional vacation like allocation would work is that you have 2 weeks, or we'll say it doesn't matter how much time, but every time you take a day off, it's coming from that. So by the time you want to take a vacation, like say my kid is like sick, or you know I have to go out of town for a funeral I guess is like an exception kind of thing, but like no matter what you do in life, like there's going to be times where you just need to take a little time or whatever. The traditional way that works would be that it gets deducted from the amount of time you have, right? That's standard, right?
Yep.
Or it was. So the unlimited vacation part of this is like almost to your point, like, oh, you're playing baseball, or your kid's playing baseball. Yeah, we know that every day on Thursday, Ray leaves with a half day. So you add all those up for 3 months, and then basically you've got, what would that be? That'd be like, you know, you took off like 6 or 7 days or whatever total, right? So then by the end of it, like traditionally, those start to add up. Then it'd be like, oh, great, I want to take a 2-week vacation. oh, well, you actually only have like 5 days remaining or whatever. So with unlimited work, unlimited vacation, it takes into account that like you can take a day off here or there or whatever. The only thing that you're required to do is make sure that your team doesn't get fucked because you're gone and they didn't know you were going to be out. So you can take all those days off all the time, and then you still get your 2 weeks, every 3 months or whatever. That's still like, I still think that's a little more on the like, it almost goes back to like what you were saying. Well, I don't know. I don't want to shit on you right now, but it's like taking advantage of the fucking opportunity. It's like,
and that's my point. That is exactly my point. Why are you giving me the like saying it that way when you don't actually want me? I want you to tell me. You don't want me to take advantage of it, right?
No, but you're giving it to me. Hang on. There's a difference in taking advantage of the so that word gets used drastically differently. If you're going to take advantage of an opportunity, like, hey, you get like, we do 401k matching. You should take advantage of that versus like, you're taking advantage of Ray. Those are two different ways to use that word, right?
I'm saying it the opposite way, though. It's like...
No. I mean...
but you get what
you just said...
My point is...
You don't... Hang on. Let's just clear that up. Let's clear that up. I'm saying take advantage of, like, you're, like, doing it in sort of a not cool way. You're taking advantage of the fact that there's an opportunity. I guess, like, words really matter here. But, like, you can... Like, for the lunch is the perfect example. Take advantage of getting the free lunch. Oh, now you're fucking taking advantage of it.
I get
Stupid, right?
the tone. I'm not even talking about that. My point is, I hate calling it something that it's not, and it's not.
But how is it not?
It's not unlimited because there's a cap, or because then it becomes negative. If you take too much of it, it's negative, which means it's not unlimited.
Honestly, like you can take as much as you want. Like if you're the guy that can figure out. No. Hang on. Okay, this is really interesting.
I'm serious. Like I would love this. Okay, if like literally I laid this out. Okay, and I come to work for you, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take every third week off, or every fourth week off of every month, but I'm gonna fucking kill it because it doesn't take into account all the time I'm spending at night, all the time I'm spending on the weekends, all the time that I fucking live and like breathe this fucking company. And in return from that, I'm going to use your unlimited vacation policy to where it actually will benefit me and I'll be able to recharge and keep doing this all the time. And I won't get burnout and I'm going to stay here. But if I did that.
So you're an independent contractor at that point, because if your team, you work on similar types, we're in the same field. So like your team, how big is your team? Let's just say it's 20. It doesn't matter. Let's say you've got 20 people working on a project with a deadline. So you as an individual take every third week off. Well, Homeboy as an individual takes every third week off, but it's a different week. Another person actually takes off the same week you do every third week. By the time you have 20 people taking every third week off, you are not going to be able to get fucking shit done.
And no one can use the thing that they have been told that they have, which is unlimited vacation, because it is limited based on when you take it and how much you can take.
Actually, I think that's why we didn't call it unlimited vacation. Now that we've had this long conversation,
you get where I'm saying. Like it's always bugged me.
I get what you're saying,
but honestly, I care more about like in reality. Like this is just a good conversation, just because it's like
totally.
It's like a total been always a trigger for me because I'm like everyone always says that and I'm like okay cool, so I'm just gonna do it. But I
don't disagree with you for the most part because there are companies that it's total bullshit, but there's also just like I mean there's just the way I mean I guess it's like really a language thing because there really is like. What I'm saying is like you as an individual, if you can work out how to like get that done, you can literally take off basically as much time as you want. But you do have other team members that play a role in that ability.
Totally. And I mean,
not the company, not management.
But that's taking it to the extreme of like, there was no planning involved when you're like taking a vacation though, and like you just fucked everyone, and just walked out the door and left them. Like,
you think that's uncommon?
No. I'm saying I wouldn't do that. I'm saying that's not how I would take advantage of the situation. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The one thing that I do think is interesting though about this, which is kind of like sideways, but it's the same. You know how the 37 Signals guys do this? Have you like read
I
their
feel
stuff?
like I
With,
should.
like,
I used
that
to be a
book,
huge
Rework?
fanboy.
Like it was in that
Yeah.
Rework book. They I'm sure they have like unlimited whatever, vacation. But what they do, because when vacation, a lot of times it happens, it's like you brought up the example, which isn't vacation, of like I'm going to my kid's game. That's work, right? It's just work, not at the job. It's like work of like family, or like oh, the weekend, cool, I have kids and a wife. Like I don't have like a day to myself to like recharge and actually like refocus and get things done for myself. It's always like another job that I have. But what they do is they do a forced sabbatical, and like you have to plan it with them, and like they pay for it,
And
buy
they pay
the
for it.
tickets, buy the
Yeah.
everything, and like you have to go, right? And like it's for you to get into the best place to be able to get the most work done when you are at the office. And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like that, I feel like is
I love
like
that
so awesome.
idea. I love that idea. It doesn't scale.
100%.
I don't feel like it scales.
No, but that's a whole other topic that we could talk about. But their whole thing is they don't want to scale. They're not trying to build a huge business, and that's like my mindset that I have now. It's like I used to think like I wanted to be Bezos and Elon, and I want the $1 billion giant, enormous, crazy company. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I want like 5 people in a cool office hanging out, just like bullshitting, making stuff that makes a few $1 million a year. We all make plenty of money. We can all buy whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
And we're all just happy.
That's the dream.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's all. Simple.
I'm with you.
Easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the reason that I get so like triggered is like the word you use, which I totally do. My boss Mark, who his trigger is the free food thing, and so it's like it's funny how we all have.
He and I
these little
shared that
triggers.
trigger, actually.
Well, but
yeah.
but this one is just it's always been really interesting to me, and it's like I still get mad, but even like where I'm at now, we have unlimited.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
Right.
And like we totally like our company we brought up at the beginning of the show was like we're just like a get shit done company, and it's like and I'm be like, hey, like just right now, like my dad has COVID. And like I literally I told my team, I was like, hey guys, my dad has COVID. I'm not gonna be around. I told the executive team, hey guys, I'm not gonna be around. If I am, text me. And that was it. I didn't like have to like actually have a vacation or do anything. But I'm gonna get my shit done. I'll just do it.
You know what causes all the problems that we're talking about right now? Like, I should be able to say unlimited and you get the point without being triggered. But the reason, or honestly, I shouldn't even have to like make a policy, right? It's all those fucking assholes that take extreme advantage of shit and fuck people over. And you're like, okay, I guess we have to put this in writing now. And then it's like, the reality is just like you said, like, oh, Ray's got shit to take care of. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Like, Ray's going to make sure, like, he's going to send a Slack message or he's going to let us know. He's going to do what he can. Sometimes it may be limited because it's like an emergency or whatever. And then we'll find out and we're like, oh, fuck, is everything okay? It's the fucking assholes that just like, on Friday, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm on vacation next week. And you're like, what? We have a fucking demo next week and you're like a key player. And dude, the amount of times that happens is honestly unbelievable. Like even my company was not very big. I mean, it was big. It was like 200, like 265 or whatever.
Super small, only 265.
Well, I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like
I follow.
It's medium, I guess. I don't know, but that's not enough. I mean, I feel like that's what happens at these big companies that are like, thousands of people, where you've got the people that just like, that's the only way they could have a job is because they can sort of like blend in and kind of not do shit, but they can do just enough that they're like, oh, I did this one thing and, or whatever. You get what I'm saying.
It's totally sideways to what we're talking about, but like I've got a friend and she heads up this huge team for this giant company, like a global crazy company.
Yeah.
And like, she was like, I met up with her. This was a while ago. And she was just like, I just have this one person. I can't get rid of him. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, just fire him? And she was like, no, I can't, because she's gone to HR and said that like she was emotionally distraught because I told her that I didn't like the work that she put together, and the tone that I gave her like sent her to like whatever, and now like I can't give her too much work to do because now she goes back to HR and says that I'm punishing her for turning her into HR. And so it's like she's like manipulated the system to where now
Dude.
she doesn't actually have to do any work, but she gets the paycheck. She like totally Fight Clubbed it, you know, where it's like she does the minimal, but she set herself up in this like very legal HRE way that she can't be fired. And so I was like, man,
that triggers the shit out of me.
I mean, I know, but it's just like that's why. I mean, I've talked with my boss about this too. I was like, I think that there's just a size of a company that I just can't be in. Like I don't work that way. I am a knock the shit out and get it done. I'll go to war with you. We'll knock things out. But like I can't be buttoned up and like let's make sure that like nobody said anything ever. Like fights are good. Like that's how we grow. Like it's like how we you know critiques are good. Like it's how we do
you know
things,
what stupid shit's even good. I mean, like being able to just be absurd and just be silly is good too.
I want to be absurd,
but yeah, well that's probably too much for this episode, but I mean it's fucking total like it's the age of cancel culture, so like you can't do anything.
But no, it's like no, but this was good. Like I really liked our yelling at each other
fight
over unlimited vacation. What else can we fight
Well,
about
I feel like it was such a slow start. We rambled a little bit in the beginning. I'm gonna have to like put in the description, like figure out what minute this is and say, don't get bored. Make it to this minute where Ray and I yell at each other.
I mean, that was good though. It's funny too because I didn't know how you felt about that whole thing, but I've felt that way around unlimited vacation. I forgot that you actually had to write a whole policy on it, but I don't know. I've just been.
I think that's what makes it really painful, is because you and I, even though like we have sort of a differing sort of philosophy around the language and what it means, at the end of the day, we both have the best intentions, especially for our employees and the people that work with us. And so that's the biggest trigger, is whenever you're like constantly bending over backwards and like no matter which direction you go, it could be the same people. Here's the shitty point. It's not always like half the company feels this way, half the company feels this way. Most of the time it's like a fucking small group of people that shit on you no matter which direction you go to try to appease them. And I mean, we had to learn to we talked about it as a leadership team where we were like, okay, we're not going to get triggered, but here's the feedback. And it was hard not to get triggered.
I think you just made me realize what it is, right? Like I've never realized like what the size is of the company. And I think that you just nailed it on the head, where it's like, I don't want to be in a company that's too big to make everybody happy. I think you're small. Like if you're small enough, you get things done.
What size is that? Well, I feel like there was a couple of factors that make it hard to measure, but we were pre-pandemic, and the pandemic makes it hard to measure because we hired a lot of people. We grew during the pandemic, but we were we were over 100 people, and it was still like pretty tight. And then you had the complainers, and everybody knew who they were. They were gonna, bitch about shit. The fact that the CEO of the company has a parking space. I mean, the basic shit you would have expected, like in our generation, like, the CEO
the things
gets to
you
park
work
next to the door.
towards to get yourself.
Yeah. And so we just kind of would have to brush some of that shit off because it's just crazy. People will bitch and complain about everything. But, point being, it was still pretty tight. But, once it got, above 100, there's so many people you don't know, and it goes both ways. So many people that don't know you. So they don't know that all these people, they ended up even calling us the Capitol. You know what that's from? The Hunger Games.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we were the Capitol, and I kind of just owned it. And so like 1 year for Christmas or for the holiday, I sent this company-wide email, and I wrote at the end, love, Steve and Ray in the Capitol.
You should have like painted in like the cool beard that the
swirly beards
that the game creator, game designer guy had on the first one. That's what you should have done. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I know they all looked crazy bonkers, kind of awesome, but like, you know, crazy.
That's dope. I
Okay.
literally had something I was gonna say, but then my beard
I
comment
know.
totally ruined it. So sorry, goldfished.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, dude, this is fun. I think we need to find some more shit to like argue about. I think it makes for a fun episode.
We can't be nice to each other all the time. We gotta just yell at each other.
Yeah.
Makes it fun.
Oh, cool. Well, why don't you outro us?
All right. So if you made it this far, and thank you if you did, because we're really trying to work on our watch time, and it's growing. So people have actually been listening pretty deep into it. But please.
By the way, I think we're gonna do a short. So I'm gonna ruin your stab. I was thinking we'd do like a short special episode where we just kind of talk about the podcast and all that, because I don't necessarily think it's fun to listen to every time, but there have been some people that really liked when we were given the stats at the beginning of some of the early episodes. Okay. And I also think we've been doing it for 2 months. This, we're like, 15 episodes in, which, if you remember, the one guy that I reached out to, he's like an Instagram influencer that got back to me. His whole thing was like, he said 21's the magic number. And I was like, what does that even mean? He's like, 21 episodes.
How many do we have?
Beats out. This will be episode 15.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Yeah. And if it works out, we do have a kind of a celebrity we were talking about this morning.
I've already been thinking about questions to ask, just because it's like someone that's like gone beyond where I would even think I would want to go, but still started where we started. So like I'm really curious.
Yeah, but in a kind of a totally different industry. It'll be really interesting to see how he thinks.
To me, it's like you're building a product, you're building services, you create art,
a brand,
and like now you're a celebrity. Like it's like there was a crazy transition or two in there somewhere, and I'm really curious about that.
Yeah,
because it's like I want to take away things always, but anyway,
totally.
Again, subscribe, like it, comment, please comment, because it's like I like actually the back and forth piece of it. But for sure, if you haven't subscribed, because most of y'all haven't subscribed, like the video, watch some of our other stuff, and fuck yeah.
All right, I'm Stephen Ray
Hernandez.
Deuces.
Bye.